We're live. Welcome. My name is Dave Carson from Free the Mind UK, a chat with a therapist. And tonight, got a really exciting guest in the way of Samantha Britton, who's going to be talking about sound therapy and what it's all about, the benefits on the body, on the mind, and she's going to be doing some demonstrations. So it's going to be really cool. Now, before I bring Samantha on, I'm going to play our intro video. So let's just find that. Should have it organized. There we go. Here we go.
Not sure what therapy to choose? Free the Mind UK presents a chat with a therapist. Join us live for an up-close informal discussion of the various holistic therapies available, helping you make that important choice.
Welcome, Samantha.
Hello, thank you. Thank you for inviting me.
No, it's an absolute pleasure to have you on. I'm sure a lot of people are going to find this quite interesting. It's quite a popular thing nowadays, isn't it? Sound therapy, sound baths and stuff like that. But before we get into the nitty and gritty of that, Samantha, if it's okay with you, if you would be kind enough to give us a bit of a backdrop of how you got to this point in your life where you're doing these things, helping people.
Well, actually, funnily enough, as you say, it's really popular these days. But when I first started, back in 2010, a lot of people hadn't heard of sound baths or sound healing. It was a very, very, even though it's been going back centuries and centuries, and people have been doing a lot of things in the 70s, from the 70s onwards. When I first started, it wasn't very well known. So yeah, it's been an interesting journey, and now it's exciting to know it's becoming more in the mainstream as well.
No, absolutely.
So I first discovered sound healing when I was at a Kundalini yoga class.
Oh wow!
When I was living in Staffordshire, and my tutor, my Kundalini tutor, invited me to a sound circle at her house. And prior to this, I'd done lots of other therapies like Reiki, spiritual healing, various other things. And I thought, as I always like to explore and to learn new things, so I thought, yeah, okay, I'll go along to see what this is about. We all sat in chairs in the centre of the room, and this lady closed her eyes, and this lady just played tuning forks and various instruments all around us. And I just thought, I just felt like I'd come home. I was like, wow, I really, it's almost like I felt like I'd done it before. Wow. It was that kind of feeling. So I thought, I need to train in this. I need to find out more about it. So I started doing research online. And again, back then, there wasn't the quantity of courses, and it wasn't sort of fresh in your face.
Yeah.
So I had to do a lot of research. And then I was staying with my friend in Shropshire. And she said, and I said, I really want to learn sound healing. And I just can't find the right thing. And she said, there's, I did a voice workshop with a gentleman called Simon Heather. And she said, I've just seen a mailing come through from him that he's at a Mind Body Spirit Fair in Shropshire this weekend. And I happened to be staying there. So I went along to the Mind Body Spirit Fair, and Simon was there, and I met him. And he ends up being the founder of the College of Sound Healing, who I ended up training with. And I was really lucky to have him as my tutor as well, because he doesn't teach anymore. So within a week, I was on a training course. I was learning all about sound healing.
That's how it happens.
I know. It was like, when everything aligns and it's all meant to be. And then I did, so it's about 18 months, the training, sort of over that period of time. And I just learned so much about myself as well during that period of time. So yeah, because I've been through quite a traumatic kind of relationship prior to that. And it was the first time, I think, with any sort of meditation that I found myself in my body and being present. And it just helped me to process lots of emotions. So while I was doing the training, I was like, I've got to share this with as many people as possible. So I was, we learned all sorts as well, training with the voice as well as instruments. I did a lot of shamanic because my tutor did a lot of shamanic work. So I do rattle healings and things like that as well. So I had a really good sort of grounding and lots of really good training. Which
wow, it sounds it. I find it fascinating. Like I mentioned before we came on live, I've been to a few sound baths, as they're called. Is there any other names for them? Is that what they're generally called, where you go and there's the gongs and the crystal bowls? Is that what they generally call it?
Generally called sound
so you're
baths.
bathing in the sound, I guess.
I sometimes call mine sound relaxation sessions.
Okay.
Because I sometimes, like, people don't always know what a sound bath is. They think they've got to lay in the bath.
So, yeah, you could think that, actually.
Yeah, so a lot of people ask me that. Do I have to lay in the bath to do it? I don't know whether they're being silly, kind of just being silly with it, or whether it is a genuine thought. But I think, so I sometimes call it sound relaxation as well, because it seems to open that up to people that might not necessarily know that they're looking for it.
Yeah.
I think
it's interesting as well, like how things come to you in your life, like with you with the sound healing, and you had an affinity with it, and obviously you followed through with that, and you're at this point now. I love that. I think that synchronicity, isn't it? But basically, it's a beautiful thing. It's special, definitely, and not a lot of people have that in their lives. Often people don't find things like that in their lives. They're just doing what they do, and it's a bit weird. I was going to ask you, actually, when I went to several sound baths, some people really did get affected by the vibrations of especially some of the gongs. I mean, they can, for me personally, it had a bit of an eerie sound to it, the vibration, and I can guess why some people could sort of go off on a tangent with that sound, and I was witness to many people that afterwards they were like, wow, like something shifted in me, which is fascinating, really. The vagus nerve, Samantha.
Yeah.
The biggest nerve, whatever it is. Apparently, there's a branch of it that goes into the eardrum, and when you're listening to the sounds, it affects the sympathetic nervous system, makes you relax, doesn't it?
Yeah.
I found that I was doing some research today about the vagus nerve going into the eardrum, just a little branch of it. Anyway, I've digressed a bit there.
That as well, because so your ears, so the inner ears, are also, they kind of affect how we learn and how we process. So it's like that's the point it goes into, and we process that information from there. So it directs to lots of different parts in the brain. So it can have lots of different effects, and that's why I think different people are affected by different instruments and different things, because we're all so different. So we only have our unique perspective on something, as well as our own unique way of processing. So one thing that works for some in a particular way for one person is not necessarily going to work. That's my thought anyway. It doesn't always work in the same way for different people.
I think that goes across the board, especially with therapy as well. some techniques have incredible effects on people, and others that doesn't. Get back in the tool bag and try something else. So just if you could just run through a typical session, a sound bath session, because I know you do different types of sound scenarios, if you like. I don't know what to call it. So what generally happens in a typical sound bath, for instance?
So
or your sound meditation, whatever you want to call it.
Yeah. So for one of my sound baths, So if people are able to lay down, I'll invite people to lay down.
Yeah.
I always suggest that people bring duvets, a pillow, and all sorts of other things to make themselves really comfortable.
Yeah.
So I think, you know, there can be part of a journey if you're laying on a cold floor, you know, but for a long period of time, you know, you're talking about 50 minutes probably laying down. So I'll invite people to lay down, but obviously if they can't, like some people do sit in chairs or, you know, recliner chairs or something. But I will guide people into normally a guided meditation through the body, just asking people to relax each certain bits as they go through the body, to just help, because I think sometimes, especially if people haven't been before, they're unsure of what's going to happen, and you know, hearing strange instruments, because some of them can, like you said about the
strange sometimes,
you know, so I try and help people to relax before the music actually begins,
right?
And also so they get used to hearing my voice as well. So I also use my voice in my sound healing, and in my sound baths. It's not just instruments. So I'll do the guided meditation, and then I always play instruments in a different order. It's never the same. I don't have a set sequence. I just intuitively feel guided to what I need to play. And so I have a variety of instruments that I play. So I've got beautiful hand pan, crystal bowls, singing bowls, handmade. This is one I handmade.
Oh, really? Oh, wow. Look at that.
Yeah. So that's so it took me 3 days to make that one.
I don't know how you managed to do that. I would have no idea how to begin to make one of those.
I went on a course with another sound healer. She makes gongs as well. Her instruments are beautiful.
Wow.
But I made some of these little chimes as well.
Oh, that's nice. God,
so they are beautiful.
Resonance off that. It's lovely.
So I play a variety of different instruments. With some of them, like the crystal bowl, I'll use my voice as well. I've got an ocean drum that I also sing with. And so I'll play music for probably about 40 minutes.
Wow.
And then so in part of my training, when I was doing some of the rattle healings, we would bring in light through the top of the head to cleanse, and use particular frequencies to cleanse through the body. And then also bringing other frequencies in just to reset ourselves. So I generally do that at the end of every session. Everyone gets a nice cleanse and a reset at the end of the session. Because sometimes, sort of while you're listening to the instrument, you can be triggered with like old memories, and it also really works on an emotional layer. So that's why at the end I always like to do a cleanse and a reset, because it allows people just to release anything that they need to release. And then I normally leave people about 5-10 minutes in silence at the end,
so can
for that reason. Just because often we don't have that period of time in our lives where we just have nothing.
You're absolutely right there.
I think it's a really important part of that self-care for people. Because quite often we don't give that time to ourselves. So I like to have that forced rest.
Well, you know, you're right. We live such busy lives, and there's always something to be done, and we often forget that self-care aspect, don't we? And to look after ourselves. You know, it's a big problem, I think.
Yeah, and it's for all of us. I have to remind myself to do it as well.
Likewise. I mean, I have like loads of techniques that I'm supposed to do every morning, you know, like reset my nervous system and some deep breathing, and I don't always do it, you know. it's just one of those things. But I do eventually, bit of a wave going on, you know. It's like I think most people are like that anyway.
I think it's when you realise that you haven't been doing it and you
Exactly.
recognise and you suddenly
Yeah.
go,
And you're like, oh my God, come
why am
on.
I feeling a bit, because I haven't been doing what I need to do.
Yeah, I'm a bit full on with myself. I'm like, come on, Dave, gotta do it. And I'm like, okay. It's like talking to another part of myself. I love it. So you know, like talking about chakras, right? Like how the sound. Is there different instruments? But like I know, like with the singing bowls, I'm not 100% sure on this, but there's different singing bowls for different chakras. Is that right, or is that just you know?
There are.
Yeah.
But it's funny actually. I read a book by Frank Perry, who is from the New Forest, but he is like in the UK. He's Mr. Himalayan Bowl. He's like he really knows his stuff.
Knows his stuff, yeah.
And it was interesting because I read his book and I was like, oh, okay. So you think along the same lines as me, you know, when you suddenly get that connection, you're like,
connect.
oh, I've been thinking that, and it goes against what everyone else believes.
Yeah.
So he has probably thousands of beautiful bowls, and I actually, sorry, I'm digressing a little bit, but
no, it's fine. We love to digress, Samantha.
I trained with he was supposed to cut. I've wanted to meet him for years, and I still haven't managed to meet him. And I booked a training course in London, Himalayan bowl course, and with a lady called Kat, and it was Frank Perry, and it was you know when we had those really bad snowstorms, probably about 4 years ago, something like that. And the training course was in London, and I was staying with my friend, and I just about managed to get there, and they were cancelling all the trains, and then I had an email from Kat saying that Frank was, because he was in the New Forest, he was stranded, he couldn't get there. So I was like,
no. But you're
she said, but I'm still going to be running the course. So I was like, right, I'm still going to go. And she was absolutely amazing. She runs sound bars in London as well, but I really want to get to one of her sound bars. But so I did this Himalayan bowl training with her. So she trained with Frank, and like she had these ancient bowls. Like she's got lots of antique singing bowls.
Oh wow.
And I did this training, and we had to sit with the bowl. We took it in turns, so we were sat in this room. So we learned different techniques, how to play them on the body, various different things. And you had to sit and meditate with this bowl for like 15 minutes, and then pass it on to, make your notes, pass it on to the next person. And you know, some of them have come from temples, and I was sat there, and I literally held this bowl, and I was transported to the top of this beautiful mountain. And so I was writing all this down, and then she would go, oh yeah, that one's from, you know, that one's from Tibet, that one's, they were just phenomenal. But their kind of thinking was similar to mine, that you can be prescriptive about this bowl is for this, because this bowl here is from India, and that's solar plexus and third eye.
Right.
So it's got particular frequencies.
Yeah.
But for some people that will resonate with the solar plexus and the third eye.
Yeah.
But I think for some people it won't.
Yeah.
And my sort of thoughts are, so our energy centers, our chakras are vibrating, but I think when there's different things going on in your life and things around you, they're going to vibrate slightly differently at different times. So I think you can, and again, it goes down, I think a lot of this goes down to intention and what's your intention when you're playing it. So if you want something to balance your heart chakra, then if you buy a heart bowl and your intention that it's going to balance it, it will balance it.
Of course.
So
when you're running a class, your intention's quite important then.
Yes.
With the group. Yeah.
So for a group session, my intention is completely different to an individual healing session.
Okay.
So when I do a group session, because it's in a group situation, I'm really conscious of the fact that I'm playing lots of different instruments for different people, and it's going to affect people differently. So my intention is always for deep rest and relaxation. If anything else happens for people, aside of that, then that, we can deal with that. But I think it's really important. So from my point of view, I think it's really important to just be aware that some people, like if they're coming for a one-to-one treatment, and that there's a very personal reason for coming, and we've got a particular outcome that we're looking for.
Yeah.
But I think for group sound baths, I'm very conscious of the individuals, and not wanting, like some people wouldn't, I know for a fact, wouldn't want to be in that position where they would cry in a group. So that's why I set my intention for deep rest and relaxation for those sessions.
Makes sense. It's interesting because that seems to work with other types of therapies as well, like with hypnosis, for instance. I think it's quite important that the hypnotist has this intent to hypnotize them, and whatever goes on energetically with that, the intent, whatever that creates, seems to have an effect, not just with hypnosis, but with all sorts of things. And like what you do, it's like with healing, the intent behind it. I think it's a really powerful thing.
Yeah. So Jonathan Goldman, I don't know if you've ever listened to any of his music. So he was, I bought, actually before I started doing the sound healing training, I bought one of Jonathan Goldman's CDs. Crystal Bowls and Chakra Chants.
Yeah.
And I would really highly recommend it. Just pop it on in the background when you're working or doing anything. It's really amazing. And so Jonathan Goldman, I've got one of his books, and that is all about intention. It's like whatever, everything comes down to intention.
That's really cool. It's interesting because I set up a business just after COVID, creating sublimable audios, sublimables, obviously using different sound waves, to, create like different states of the mind. So the idea is you listen to the recording, and then the brain hears it and connects with it, and it'll go into a different, whether it be the sleep brainwave or whatever, and obviously it's similar. It's all sound, isn't it?
Everything comes back to sound and vibration.
It does. It's interesting because I've been doing a little bit of research about it, and there have been some studies with sound therapy on things like lowering blood pressure. They did some tests on people, and they found that blood, that was one of the outcomes of it. Have you? Do you know any other sort of studies? Interesting. Studies?
Well, there's the College of Sound Healing, who I trained with, have got hundreds of case studies and research on their website. So there's been lots of research with dementia, autism, with cancer. So they did some studies with cancer patients, and what they actually did is matched they researched the frequency of the cancer cells, matched that frequency, so it dispersed the cells, and then they put in more harmonious, so something to replace it.
It's interesting.
And the other frequencies to replace it. So there's been studies done around cancer as well. So anxiety, I find there's a lot of people who come for sessions with anxiety and depression. So that has a really positive outcome. And I think because with some of my sessions as well, I tend to try and bring people into the here and now with the session. So it kind of gives it, so it almost resets. So it resets you. So I definitely, and also giving people tools that they can listen, you know, they can listen to as well.
Okay.
I found, so I learned, so we were talking about the chakras.
Yeah.
So as part of my training, I learned particular tones with the chakras. There are lots of different ones.
Okay.
There are lots. I learned Indian music scale, which is absolutely beautiful. But the basic vowel sounds for the chakras are absolutely, they just bring you into your body. So I do that with people as well. So I can either do that as a treatment, but I also I like to empower people to use their own voice as well.
Okay, so you do that using voice, using vowels, yeah? Because I listen to, I'm big on kirtan music. I love kirtan.
Oh, yeah, I love
kirtan, and bhajan. I can never pronounce it right, but bhajans, I think it's called bhajans. It's like inspirational singing, but they're obviously using Sanskrit. You know, one of the oldest languages, isn't it? The Sanskrit and the vowels and stuff. There seems to be a lot of importance on the sounds, you know, of the mantras.
Yeah.
You see what I mean? So is it a bit like that or not? Or is
it is a little bit like that. Yeah. So they are but they are very, so they're like oohs and ohs, so they're very easy to pronounce.
Okay.
But people can, so as you're working up the body,
yeah,
it really you'll have to try it. I can send you a recording that we've got of me doing the
sounds good.
And you'll have to try it and let me know how you get on.
Yeah, I'd love that. I'd really love
because you literally don't think about anything else. It is a really good, it is a really good
it brings you into the present moment.
Oh, basically. Absolutely in that moment. But also the good thing is where you're working up your body, your voice can sound a little bit gravelly in different parts.
Okay.
So you almost, you know what parts of your body are out of balance. And it's like your voice doesn't lie.
Oh wow, I love
You can't hide from it. You're
That's
like,
so interesting.
And but because we change all the time, it changes all the time. So if I do one of those, I'm like, oh, my heart chakra is a little bit gravelly there. What's going on there? So
go on.
Yeah, it's a really lovely.
You're talking about the thing you're gonna send me to have a go of. Is that similar thing? Oh, that'll be interesting. That will.
Yeah.
Samantha.
Yeah. So that's
working too gruffly.
Working on the vowels through the body.
Yeah. That sounds fascinating. I'm very big on being in the moment. It's one of my life's journeys, like it should be for everybody. But it's one of my things, you know. I'm really interested in that. I try to be in the present moment as much as possible. It's not always easy. So to have something that can help you get there, you know, it's lovely. Definitely.
Yeah, because it's always so easy to be derailed, isn't it? Or taken away from that in our sort of in the lives we live these days. It's so easy to be distracted from that, I think.
It is. I mean, I like I say, I've been practicing it for quite a long time, and it's sort of become a bit ingrained now, you know, in me, and I've noticed it. I mean, for years I used to think, oh my God, my thinking is so far beyond me as a person, because I just couldn't live that way, if you see what I mean, as a human being, you know, to be in that moment. But I do discover times where I get a reflection. I'm like, oh my God, you know, I'm actually, you know, I think I'm in the moment. You know, it's like being in control of your, you know, having like, I can't really explain it, but it's like not being too perturbed by what's going on outside of oneself, you know, and maintaining that sort of lovely motion inside, if you like. So it's interesting because have you ever heard of? I'm gonna put this up because I thought it was relevant to the talk. I don't know whether it is or not. Let's just see if I can. This is a Japanese scientist. Have you ever come across this guy's work? I'm just going to.
I have. I've got his book.
Yeah. I really love this stuff. But this is water here that's unstructured, and he's playing some music here. Vivaldi, the Four Seasons. Isn't that beautiful? That structure. It's just incredible, isn't it?
Yeah.
And John Lennon's Imagine, that's another one there. And then below that is heavy metal music. So it's quite interesting how water, affects things. No, not water. Music, should I say? What am I on about?
Yeah. And were you thinking, because we are a high percentage, there's lots of different theories on how much percentage of water we are, but
quite a lot though.
We are a lot. So we are.
It makes so much sense that like if you're giving off a negative vibration, it's gonna, by going by his work on, it shows that it's definitely having an effect upon the water inside your body. There's another lady actually that does work with water, but it's not. She does use sound, but she because water. You've read his book. I don't know if he talks about this, but water's got a memory, so like she'll get a little petri dish of water. I'm digressing a bit here, but anyway, I think it's interesting. She'll get a little petri dish of water, and she'll put the water over a pitcher, and then she'll put it in the freezer for like 3 minutes 50 seconds. She's got a way of doing it, and often you will see the pitcher in the ice. The water's took on the memory of the pitcher. She's done some fascinating work. I can't remember. And Vida Austin, her name is. Well worth checking out. And you can actually do these experiments yourself. Just buy some petri dishes and even just send a thought into them. But it'd be interesting to see what would happen if you played music to it,
Yeah, that does. Experiment to
Yeah, so it's like with Emoto's work, it's obviously microscopic in a sense, but what she does, it's different. So you can actually see it. You just put it in the freezer for like 3.5 minutes, and when you take it out, it's got the ice structures forming, and often you can see those pictures in the ice. Amazing.
It's amazing. There is I've seen him speak actually. John Stewart Reed, his name is.
Okay.
And he's created, I think it's called the Sinoscope.
Okay.
So that creates pictures out of the sound vibrations. So he does a lot. His talk was on changing DNA through sound that he was doing. So there's some really fascinating stuff, some really fascinating stuff out there.
There is.
Of research that people are doing. And I think we're only just touching the surface of it all at the minute.
Absolutely. I agree with you. It's I'm sure at one time we knew about stuff like this, but I'm definitely my thinking is that a lot of these things have been educated out of us over the millennia, for whatever reason. Probably got a good idea why, but I won't go into that. It's like it'd be great to see a world one day when we're all in our power, in our inner power.
Well,
which is what we're trying to do in it with sound therapy, with healing, and get rid of all the crap, and actually, go within and find that beauty within. And I think once you start finding that, it's like life-changing,
Yeah, and it is. And I think
it affects other people, definitely.
Yeah, like you said, it affects the other people around you as well.
Yeah.
And so last year I was invited to run the sanctuary at the RHS Garden Festival at Hampton Court.
Okay, wow.
And so I did sound baths, and I did a vocal workshop every day. And I invited other therapists to come and, you know, to share, to do talks and things like that. And the RHS didn't know how that was going to be received, like by the members, and so they didn't want to do yoga or anything, because they were like, I don't think people are going to come in and lay down.
Yeah.
But this is showing how much it's needed.
Yeah.
So when we opened the doors, and honestly, it's come from, all the decorations have come from the Chelsea Flower Show. It just looked beautiful. Wow. All willow outside. It was absolutely stunning. But all walks of life came into that year, and between me and the other therapists, we gave so many different opportunities for people to learn about different things. And people were literally coming in, kicking their shoes off and laying down, like in their suits. And
wow,
like, it was just showing that, and also the lovely thing is that we could show people that there were alternatives to, you know, I don't know, not saying that it's an alternative to medicine.
No, of course, but yeah, there are stress relief at least, you know.
Yeah. So it was, but pretty much everyone that came in, just sat and went, oh, I can relax. Oh, you know, I haven't done this for so long. And it was an amazing experience to be able to share that with so many people. And people
just to give people that opportunity, because that opportunity is not always around us, and people don't know where to go to find these things. They're not in that loop, you know, they're not in that group to find these things out. And like you said, it's surprising how many people would get into it and actually enjoy it and get some benefit out of it. Probably a lot more people than we think. Like you were surprised that day, you know, the amount of people that sort of that sounds amazing.
It was an amazing experience too. And I think as well, a lot of the work I do some quite deep work with people, but I also seem to, like my sound baths, I have half and half. So I have people who return, but generally half the people there are new people as well. So they come on a, you know, sometimes people don't come for a couple of months or something.
Yes.
And so it's really opening my eyes to the fact that I tend to do a lot of work with people who are new to meditation or therapies, which I love. You
absolutely, know, that's a beautiful thing. You know, you're getting it out there. You know,
and I feel that's part of, you know, that is part of my journey, is to and it took a long time to get to that though. It took me a long time to get online and to do Facebook Live. And I am going to start doing it again in the new year. I used to do a free Monday morning meditation on my page. So just to start your week in a positive way. But I play a bit of handpan or crystal bowl and do a meditation for about 10 minutes. And it was just, again, an introduction for people during, and that started during lockdown, I think, because I needed it.
Well, I was going to say, because we all, you know, you've grown. I bet you've grown in an incredible amount through what you've been doing as well, you know, and this is the beautiful thing about it. You know, we grow ourselves, you know.
And what I've had to do is, like you said, with like, one of my missions is to share it with as many people as I can. So I had to kind of get out of my own way to be able to do that, because I kept thinking, you know, and again, it's always, you try and be perfect, and it's like, I've had to let go of, like you said, you grow. I've had to let go of that.
It's like me doing this, Samantha, you know, it's like one day I thought, fuck it, I'm going to interview people. And another part was like, what are you talking about? You know, like, you're going to mess it up. You're going to forget what you're saying and all that. I don't care. Look at it. It's like, and I'm lucky, really, because I can just laugh things off, you know. I think that's important. And it's really good. I love having people like you on here, because other people are going to watch the recording, excuse me, and they're going to, you know, in all probability, some people are going to get something from this, and then they're going to go to a sound bath. They might not be in Portchester, they might go somewhere else, but you've actually touched somebody. Do you know what I mean? I think that's so important.
Well, I think sort of doing that show last, you know, like I said, in Hampton Court.
Yeah.
Like I spoke to the organisers today, and she said, "Oh, I found, because she lives in London,
Yeah.
I found a local sound bath, so I've been to a local one, and you know, and like we were discussing, that there's probably lots of people there that have done the same thing, but with all the different therapies we had, they, you know, they might not necessarily come to us because they're not in the area, but
Yes,
they've planted a seed."
You planted a seed, a beautiful seed at that. And don't do you do online sound baths? Can you do them?
Yes, I do. So during lockdown, my business had just, it was the first year I thought, right, this is it. I'm going for this. Like I've kind of done it as a hobby before, and I was like, right, I'm going for this. And I done the most I'd ever earned, like literally the month before lockdown, and I was like, brilliant. You know, this is really, you know, I was working a full-time job before that as well as doing it. And I was like, right, that's it. I can give up my job. You know, I'm doing this. And then lockdown came in. And,
that's typical.
And I thought, okay, people still, you know, the first one we had to cancel was like, do we cancel this? Don't we? What's going on? You know, I think there was a lot of people.
Yeah, there were a lot of people like that.
And I thought, well, I'm going to have to take this online. You know, this looks like it's not ending soon. So, so I went through, I think I was telling you earlier, I bought mixers, microphones, like
you do.
Yeah, it's like I didn't have a clue. Really didn't have a clue what I needed, but I got it all I did get it all to work. And then I kind of changed what I do now, but it all worked. And so I was doing it on Facebook Lives. So during lockdown I did them all for free.
Wow. Brilliant.
So I you know, and as well, I think I was doing it for everyone else, but I was also doing it for myself because it kept me completely sane with having a focus.
Absolutely.
Right, I'm going to do a sound bath this week, and that's where the Monday morning came from. And then when we came out of, I think towards the end, just before we came out of lockdown, I decided to I was in a business coaching group, and there was a lady that had set up an online group. So I thought, oh, okay, I'm going to do that with my sound bath.
Yeah.
So it's nearly, in April, it'll be 2 years that I've been doing that.
Gosh.
So I have an online group, which is done through Facebook at the moment, but I'm thinking about taking it onto YouTube and doing it on YouTube instead. But it's a Facebook subscription group. But I do get loads in there actually. So I do 2 sound baths a month. Plus I do so I do full moon meditation.
Oh yeah, full moon.
Sometimes a new moon meditation.
Is this like in real time, not online? You do or is this all online?
It's all online.
All online. Okay.
Yes, that's all online.
Yeah.
So I do, but I also do meditations with particular instruments.
Okay.
So I'll just do a handpan session, or I'll just do crystal bowl sessions as well. So it depends. And I also get guest speakers to come in as well, because what I find is it is a sound circle, but a lot of the people in my group are exploring different avenues. So I always think it's really, we had a lovely Elliot come in and do a breathwork session for us this month. And that was really good. And it really taught me about how I breathe. And I thought you know, I'm not an expert on breath, but I was like, oh, that's really interesting. So I learned a lot from that. So I bring in
that's really, really cool. Really good. I was going to say that the breath work, there's a guy called James Nestor, and he brought a book out called Breath.
Yes.
Have you ever heard of it?
I've heard of it, and Elliot recommended it as
It's a
well.
fantastic book. I've got it here. I read it. It's really interesting book. Nasal breathing all the way.
Yeah, and I realised how much I wasn't doing nasal breathing. As soon as I started doing the exercises with him, I was like, I really didn't realise how much I breathe through my mouth.
Yeah, it's supposed to be really bad for you as well. It's really bad for your jaw, your teeth, everything. It's and your body. It's a, yeah. I'm going to read his book again actually, because I think he did a 3 months. He went 3 months with his mouth taped up or something. It was like proper full on. What they were doing. He was doing it with his friend. But lots of people talk about this book. Definitely
I've had quite a few people talk about it as well, and about the mouth tape as well.
Yeah. When it sounds a bit extreme, but you don't know how you're breathing when you're sleeping. You probably have the mouth open,
Yeah, that's definitely me.
I'll have to try it. So yeah, are you happy to maybe play a couple of your instruments just so we can hear what it sounds like?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
I'll play you a little bit of pan to start with.
Okay, that sounds cool. Beautiful. I tell you what, that's a beautiful sound. That would definitely send me off. That would, Samantha. I really like it. It's got really lovely tones. What's that instrument made of then? Is it made of a particular metal? It's got a beautiful sound.
It's steel.
Steel.
Yeah, so it's a steel drum.
Yeah.
But so each of the notes create 3 different frequencies.
Oh wow.
So they create, and they all create their really harmonious sounds. Beautiful. That's why it just makes us feel so good.
I was feeling really good.
I feel so good when I'm playing it. I can't stop. I was like, oh,
I know. I bet. I'm gonna have to buy one of them. Next time I get a Glastonbury.
Oh, they're just a joy to play.
Yeah.
Because you can't play them badly.
Yeah, so it doesn't really matter. I mean, obviously you could learn. I suppose if you bought one, they would come with some instructions, some tunes you could learn, by. But yeah, no, I know what you mean by that.
So this one is by. So this one was made. The makers are in Wickham. We're really lucky to have really world-renowned pan makers in Wickham.
Wow.
So Dean actually made this specifically for me because he knew what I was going to be doing.
Wow, beautiful.
So again, we were talking about intention.
Yes.
And as he said,
love.
He said that this is a scale like no others, but he said that's because you're quite unique. So I've created you this unique scale. So nobody else has got a scale like this.
Wow. It sounded absolutely beautiful. Really good.
It's like an extension. It does feel like an extension of me.
Yes. It's got great vibration. So what else have you got then? Come on. It's getting good.
So I'll play a little. So this is my singing
Yeah,
bowl
that's the one you made, isn't it?
that I made.
Wow. Beautiful.
Still going.
Is that making a sound to you, Samantha? Because I can't.
Is it not to you?
No, it's not. No.
Not picking that up.
No. Shame.
Might
Shame.
be because it's quite a gentle one.
Yeah.
So you could probably hear this one.
Oh yeah. So when you're doing that, the way you just hit it, then is that how you do it? You don't go around the bowl as well, or not?
Some bowls you can play around and some you can't.
Right, I see. I didn't know that.
So this one you can play around.
Yeah. Yeah, I can hear that.
Can you hear that?
Yeah. It's not perfect, unfortunately, but it's a shame. Yeah, it's when you lift it down, it's really weird. The sound goes, maybe the speaker's not picking it up. That's better.
I was too high.
Yeah.
So this is the first one I ever bought.
Yeah. Oh, that was
before
the
I did
first.
sound healing.
Oh, really?
I bought it in a shop in Edinburgh
Oh, right.
for £13.
Wow.
It was like an absolute bargain. But it's got a yin yang fish symbol on the bottom.
Oh, wow.
Beautiful.
That is beautiful. I love that.
So most of my instruments, I have a real personal connection to.
Yeah. It's just beautiful in itself. I think that's beautiful. I like these.
These are made by the lady that I made the singing bowl and the other instruments with.
Oh, wow. Yeah, that's a nice tone, that is.
So they're called, I think when she made them, again, she makes them all with an intention and their stillness of being. So they're to bring you to a still point, but they're beautiful little handmade.
Yeah, they look really, really, really nice.
Bells. These are the. So I went on a workshop after I made the singing bowl, and it was a play day at the forge. So we just took scraps of metal and made instruments out of them.
Oh, wow.
And these are really unusual. But the sustain on them, they go on for minutes.
Can you hold it back where you originally hit it? Because I think we're going to hear it better from there. No, it's interesting that I can't hear it very well on my end. Maybe other people will be able to. Yeah, get the initial boom, and then the sound goes.
The rest up.
Yeah, it's a shame. What about the crystal bowl? I bet you that one. I love those. I'm gonna have to treat myself to one of those one day.
Yeah, you should. They are.
I am. Oh yeah, listen to that. Wow. Beautiful. Wow. Amazing.
So when I usually do some toning or something like.
Wow. Loving that. Amazing. I'm definitely going to buy one of them. It's going to go on my list of things to buy. I might treat myself Christmas present.
Oh, you should. I definitely recommend going on that website that I said about.
Yeah, I've got it written down here somewhere.
That's a 10. I think that's a 10-inch. That's the F, which is for the heart center.
10-inch. Yeah, that's a beautiful tone to it. Beautiful.
It is just, and it's interesting because some of my friends have got lots of instruments. I know quite a lot of sound healers, and there seems to be a real depth to this bowl in the heart. It seems to be different to a lot of the others.
Yeah, I noticed that the sound that come out of it was beautiful tone, beautiful. The depth of it.
I think it's probably slightly bigger because when people buy a set, the larger bowls are normally for the lower chakras. But this is, I don't think it's that usual to get a 10-inch heart-centered one.
Wow.
In a set.
Really, really nice. So you've got other ones of those different sizes?
No, I only have this one at the moment.
Yeah.
Because I invested most of my money in the hand pan.
I don't blame you. That is amazing. Absolutely amazing. Love it.
Yeah. So I will be adding to my collection because I do love them.
Yeah.
But yeah. I will.
Oh wow. So let me just put this up for you. So like anyone watching the recording, you can go to Samantha's website and you can join an online Serenity Sound Circle. That's right.
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah. How often do you do the sessions? Is it once a week?
They are weekly.
Okay.
But within the group, so I save all of the recordings.
Right.
So what a lot of my group members do is they go back through the catalogue. So there's
a catalogue,
2 years worth of content on there. And I label them. Yeah. So like this is a full moon meditation, or this is rattle healing. Yeah. So I have them all categorized, so people go in and listen to whatever they want. At 2 o'clock in the morning, they can't sleep.
Wow.
Like they'll go through the catalogue and choose something that helps.
Brilliant idea. Idea. And obviously, you also do one-to-one sound healing. Is this online again, or can they come?
I can do it online, and I can do it from my therapy room in Porchester. Okay. So I do, and the sessions work the same. So it depends on what people like, but I think what a lot of people, because during lockdown we had to do sessions virtually.
Of course.
I think what people find is that they're not worried about driving somewhere, finding somewhere. Yeah, they can just relax in their bed and stay there rather than having to get up and leave.
Yeah, and they're in a familiar surroundings, so they feel calm and relaxed. Not that they wouldn't anywhere else, but I think you do have this, it's your home, isn't it? So it's definitely different.
Some people need to escape from that to get peace and quiet. So I can,
yes,
I can relate to that.
Absolutely.
But, so I can do them both.
No, that's fantastic. Can you briefly just go through I know you did a bit there, the chakra vocal tune-up, the chakra vowel sounds. Just briefly explain that. What's that about exactly?
So that's so as I was saying about working through, so you'll use your own voice, or you can listen to, I do have a recording.
Yes. Is this the one you're going to send me?
Yes, that's the one I'm going to send you.
Brilliant.
So, but I'm going to be doing a workshop in the new year. I'm going to be doing one online and one in person, which is basically to help. So it basically helps people to free their voice.
Wow.
So if you have any blocks with, and also creative blocks. It's really good for releasing any creative blocks, because the throat chakra is linked to the sacral chakra. So we're really working on those centers of expression. So, and some people, a lot of people, and I was one of those, I'd always wanted to sing. But when I was really young, because I had quite a loud voice, I always got told, Samantha, turn the volume down. Like always remember that, my childhood, turn the volume down. Because I would just be really excited and really expressive. And it was too much for people. I used to love Kate Bush when I was really tiny.
Oh my God, Kate Bush!
So I'd be, singing "But Bush, at the top of my voice. So so it created a bit of a block for me with having the
that expression.
And that expression and the confidence to sing in front of people, and I believe anyone can sing. Like, that's what's so lovely about these vowel sounds. If anyone can make a sound, it's not about the words.
I love singing. I mean, my claim to fame is I sang in front of the Queen when I was like 11, but I was part of a choir,
Oh, really?
But then my voice broke. I don't know what happened, but it never sounded as good afterwards. So I'm quite intrigued about that. I'm definitely quite excited about giving that a go, because I still sing all the time, wind people up. I can't help it. So I'm sure people will be, if I could find my voice, people will be pleased about it.
Well, don't worry about it. Let them hear it. That's what I say.
Absolutely. You're expressing yourself, and I think that's so important. Absolutely.
But I think when I've done workshops before with the vocal toning, it's interesting that not everyone's gone on to sing, but some people have gone on to paint and do other creative things that they've never knew they had in them, or never knew. So it basically opens up an expression for them.
That's really interesting.
In some way, but connecting to themselves and their body and their voice enables them to release and to have that outlet for their expression, which is just amazing. It's absolute joy to do. I also I have done sessions, and I'm going to be putting some out in the new year, but deeper, like 1-day sessions where I've worked with people with sound, so doing a sound bath, then working through the chakras, doing the vocal toning, and then going out to the sea and actually toning with the sea, and to connect with that, to really, really get the really deep release and a deep connection. So that's work I'm really passionate about doing, because it's amazing. Like, some people I've done it with have gone on to join choirs afterwards.
Oh, amazing.
And they've never had the confidence to sing. So, it's so I'm going to be doing some more of that work, because that links in, I forgot to tell you, the serenity. So people often wonder why it's serenity, not serenity.
I was looking at that myself, actually. I didn't mean to mention
and my logo is a mermaid. So I have a real strong connection with the sea, and I love the sea. So what I tend to do with my music as well is bring in that sense of peace and calm that we have when we're by the sea. So and I also use that connection with the sea, because it's connecting with your emotions as well. So it's so that's where the serenity comes from.
I love that. It's a great name, actually. It's really good. It looks similar to Serenity, but it's different.
Definitely different.
Definitely different. Wow. I'm sure, people that are watching this are going to find this very interesting. Samantha covered some interesting stuff tonight, and I found it fascinating. I love all this sort of stuff, and that's why I love having people on like you who does something a bit different. We have different people on every week, and obviously, it's great for people watching to have that, the different things going on, different therapies and whatever. So wrapping our chat up, as I said people that are watching and watching the recording, you can go to Samantha's website. You can go on there and you can check out what she does, the one-to-ones, the chakra vocal tune-up, chakra vowel sounds, the online, I'm going to say it correctly now. So, Serenity!
Yes, that's it.
Circle. Serenity. Oh my God. I'll have to keep taking me tablets. My brain boosting tablets.
And there's also so I do the in-person sound baths as well, so people can come along. I do those in Eastney, and I also do collaborations with yoga teachers. I've got one tomorrow night. I
did see that on your website actually. Yeah,
we're doing the full moon one.
Yeah, that's pretty cool actually. Doing yoga with that going on as well. No, definitely really, really good. Well, look, Samantha, thanks for joining us tonight. I really appreciate it, and I'm sure you're going to go from strength to strength. It'll be amazing.
Thank you.
Get the message out there and blessing people with sound. I love it. Helping people move forward and find their voices. It's all amazing. It's really, really good. So anyone that's watching, I hope you've enjoyed the talk. I'm sure you have. Obviously, you can watch the recording if you've missed the live. And obviously, if you want to get hold of Samantha, you can via her website. And thank you for watching and thank you for joining us, Samantha.
Thank you so much for having me.
It's been a pleasure. Thank you. So I will say goodbye to everybody and thanks for watching.